Welcome back to Conversations with Co-opbank, where we take a deep dive into financial matters that matter to you. I am your host, Akira Patterson, and if you're not joining us for the first time, then you already know that we're all about debunking financial myths, deep diving into financial situations and questions and insights that really help you to grow your financial future. And if you did not see our previous episode, feel free to check it out, where we discussed making your money work for you. And we spoke a lot about savings versus investment. And in keeping with the name, remember, it's not just conversations with subject matter experts, but it's also a conversation with yourself. So feel free to give us your questions, share your comments based on the discussion, based on our conversation at feedback@grenada-co-opbank.com. So we're shifting gears on this episode a little bit, and we're speaking specifically about boosting your business efficiency. So all of the entrepreneurs, as well as business owners, people that are thinking about even considering starting your own business, you might want to draw near for this episode specifically, because we are going to deep dive into all of the financial tidbits, know-hows that you need to ensure that your business operations run smoothly from a financial standpoint. Joining us today, we have a very special guest. All of our guests are special, but in particular, Ms. Renelle Antoine, and she is Relationship Manager for Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises at Co-opbank. Welcome, Renelle.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
It's
for
such
having
a pleasure
me.
to have you here again, stealing from your time to help people solve their business problems, to have this conversation with us.
That's quite fine.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
So on today's episode, we're really focusing on business owners, on entrepreneurs, everything that you need to know. And it's okay to correct certain things along the journey, but it's also great to start off good from scratch. Before we delve into the real issues, I want to find out, what is one of the most common but easily solved business banking issues that business owners face?
Oh, I would say record keeping. That seems to be a big one. A lot of businesses, especially the small business owners, they tend to hustle. So, you're going from job to job, you do a job here, you just collect the money, nothing is recorded, no invoice was taken, but the money was collected. How do you show that?
Right.
When you come to the financial institution, how do you present that you'd have recorded maybe 60,000 for the year? We don't know unless you have records. So even if it's an Excel sheet or something of that nature, at the end of the day, recording is important. Keep your receipt books and everything like that. Recording.
Right. And that's really practical advice, because a simple Excel sheet is very easy to maneuver. So at least make some time in your day, business owners, for a little admin, either at the end or at the beginning, to ensure that you have proper records. But let's start from scratch. In that sense, someone that's thinking about, becoming an entrepreneur, they have a great idea. They already went through the process of fleshing out the business plan, and they're ready to go now. They're ready to launch their business. They have some startup capital, so they're good to go. What advice would you give them in terms of how to manage their finances from jump?
From the jump, I would say the first thing would be to open a business account. And why I'm going to say that is because a lot of our small business owners, we have a personal savings account and we think we can just run all the business activity through there.
Right.
But how do we then decipher between business and personal? You can have your salary, because most of them sometimes they're going part-time. So you can have your salary going through the account. Then we have the business proceeds in the account. We don't recommend that. We recommend a simple business account. So you have the business account. Then we get to view the transactions over the period to see what type of money you're making.
Right.
So you're depositing all the money there, and then we can do actual accounting from that specific account.
Right. So those transactions would be exclusive to the business.
Correct.
And I'm thinking too that it'll be a lot simpler than having to sift through the personal accounts.
Definitely.
Trying to, say, well, okay, what was personal, what was, business wise, especially when it comes to, that record keeping and that accounting that you're speaking of. So that's definitely important. What do you think is another key aspect of financing that small business owners, or probably, new entrepreneurs, should also consider?
The administrative part of a business is very important. You mentioned it, sometimes you can do it at the end of the start of the day, but it's so important because, we get so caught up. The days are passing, nothing is being recorded, nothing is being, documented. And then at the end of the month, you really can't say what's going on with the business. So just administration, a lot of the owners, they don't pay particular attention to the administrative needs of a business.
So in keeping with, these solutions and these innovations to assist with managing the finances of new small businesses that are just starting up as well as existing ones, I know that sometimes managing payroll at the end of the month or payments through whether it's a business account or again, if they did not take your advice from Jump and use the personal account, it would be a bit tricky to maneuver. So how do you recommend dealing with this, especially for a small business owner that's just starting or probably someone that's been in business for a while but have not had the opportunity to really formalize how they issue payments and do payroll for staff through their accounts?
Okay, so at Co-opbank, we have what you call ProfitStar, a tool that is used to help with bulk payments and salary payments. So what is it is that you go on there and then you kind of have all the recording of all the persons you have to pay. It's set up for you. It's sometimes, it can be daunting technology to do the whole process of starting it up, setting it up and so on. But when you do it the first time, all you have to do is go back and edit it.
Right.
So all the persons that you have to pay and the amounts and so on. Once you set it up, the system the first time, it's just a matter of editing going forward. So that is quick and efficient. You just upload, it's processed, full stop.
Wow, that's very simple. So again, if you're not taking advantage of this, then maybe that's definitely something that you want to look into, especially when it comes to payroll. So when we think of the day-to-day procedures and day-to-day operations for a small business, I mean, initially when we started talking, we spoke about sometimes how busy it will be, for different business owners. They're running from one thing to the next. So it's a bit tricky for them to stay on top of things. But a part of that experience too is also handling cash and handling the transactions that they will have to make. What do you think are some good interventions that they can use so that they can reduce the amount of trips that they have to make to the bank?
We have two key products that could be utilized for that purpose, right? We have the night depository service.
Right.
In that you're able to deposit your cash at the end of the business day straight to a hopper and then go straight to the account the next day.
How do you qualify for night depository? Do you have to, or is it just a matter of going into the bank and expressing that you would want that service for your business?
That is exactly what you have to do. Go into the bank. Of course, the business account is important. You must have a business account for it to go to.
Right.
So you must open the business account. Then you have the access to that service.
Yes.
You get a key, open the hopper, put it inside. It's processed next day.
Business account first.
And then the other way is point of sale.
Okay.
A lot of persons are using credit cards, debit cards, and so on to make purchases, right? So if you have a point of sale machine at your business establishment, you easily swipe the card, it goes straight to the account.
Right.
No need to put the cash together. Account, end of the day, you add up and a lot of time wasting. Swipe the card straight to the account.
Right.
That's it.
Right. And there are a lot of businesses that take, cards, debit cards, credit cards as well. So we might as well take advantage of all of these.
Correct.
Yeah. And reduce the number of trips to the bank.
Time is precious.
Correct. So when I walk in, I could just walk straight to the teller and I don't have to worry about the lines. With that said, let's talk a little bit about online banking and mobile banking. I mean, it really is revolutionizing the way that people are able to just conduct financial transactions from a personal standpoint, but also from a business standpoint, particularly.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the services that are available through the mobile banking app, as well as through the online banking, so that people will have an idea as to what if they don't already, and that we can give them the tools necessary to maneuver life a little bit simpler while they're on the go.
Okay, so a couple things that can be done there. You can view your statements. So at the end, even daily statements, you put a deposit in, you want to check to see if it's done, you can go on the app and look at it to see, yes, it was processed. Things like that. So you get to view your statements, you get your balances, up-to-date balances and so on. You get to see checks that were written to you, cash checks and so on. You can view it there as well. You can go in there and do transfers to another bank if you want, an EFT, use EFT, you have orders and so on. So a lot of different things you can go there and get. You can make a payment to a utility company, different things. You can send a secure message to do a wire transfer. Lots of different things can be done through the mobile banking app.
Wow.
Saving time.
And is it similar in the online banking portal?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's no variances. Everything that you can do in a mobile banking app, you can also do online.
Correct.
Why do you think it's important for businesses to take advantage outside of saving time? But why do you think it's important for them to take advantage of using these online services as opposed to trying to do everything like the traditional way?
Because it's about efficiency.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want to grow your business, as you say you want to be efficient. You want to save the time and be able to put your hands to more productive, generating cash and so on, more productive means.
Yeah.
So really and truly, you want to be able to translate the time that you have into cash. You got to cut down the time wasted in different things that can just be cut down by going online and doing it. 5 minutes, you're done. Versus 1 hour, if you have to get to the bank, you have to go through traffic. You have to go to the line when you get there.
You have to
a lot of time you could be doing, meeting new customers, gaining new business.
Yeah.
Time is money when it comes to small businesses, right?
It's the opportunity cost that you have to take into perspectives, as you would have said. So for businesses that are more seasoned, existing for a while, but there are ways in which they should probably boost their business efficiency. What are some indicators or things that businesses should look for when they're along their business journey, not necessarily just starting, but to make sure that things are running accordingly from a financial standpoint?
So a lot of small businesses don't like to do this part. So as you grow a business and you get into the bigger business side of things, you want to be able to be preparing financial statements.
Right.
That's important. And a lot of people, they take it for granted. But how can we assess the true nature of a business? But through the financial statements that are provided.
Right.
So it's that you need to see a profit and loss. A lot of businesses think that cash is profit. That's not the same thing. Cash after expenses, then you have your profit. Because sometimes you're seeing cash and you're making losses.
Correct.
Yes, so it's important for the financial statements to be provided at the end of the year. You get to see if it's a profitable business, if you need to go and diversify, whatever it is. That's how you grow a business, by checking and seeing what the financial statements are telling you when you read at the end of the year.
In having to deal with financial statements and the accounting side of it, a lot of probably small businesses that's probably nearing the 3 to 4 year threshold will be thinking about, should I, hire somebody specifically to do my accounting, or probably should I try to allocate more time to do it for myself? Is that something that I'm okay with doing or even okay in? What would be your recommendation in that case?
Oh, for the small business area, we have what you call MSME partners. So we have persons who can handle the financial matters of the business. So we refer you to them and they're prepared for you. And then, we'll be able to assess the financing going forward, the needs of the business through the prepared financial statements.
Beautiful.
Yeah?
Beautiful. So it's almost like you help to make it really easy for people to navigate certain aspects of being a business owner that they don't necessarily want to have to deal with or comfortable dealing with, which is great. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the perks in spending. Because if you're a business owner, then you have to spend in order to make money. We know this in life. We hear it all the time. But how do we make spending work for us as entrepreneurs?
How do you make spending work for us? I'm thinking what we need to do more of is research in the market. Because sometimes we're putting money into places that are not productive, not food. It's not going to benefit the business.
Right.
But if you research the market more, I know sometimes we have a lot of businesses, they're doing similar things. There's no competitive advantage. What is different up from you to me? Like, what's the difference? Why should I go to you and not to me?
Right.
The customer needs to decide. So you need to have something that's different about you. So that's what we call competitive advantage. So that give me an advantage for a customer to come to me versus you. I can be offering maybe tea when you get to the office. Different things can help a customer be driven to a business. So even that in itself can help.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I like the idea of that. And also, I know a lot of the times probably business owners would use maybe debit cards versus credit cards. What would you recommend in terms of those two types of cards to do the transactions? Are there any sorts of perks that are associated with one over the other that you would recommend that probably people need to be mindful of?
Well, I would recommend a credit card for businesses because, cash flow is important for a business. A debit card is tied to your own account and it's exactly
Right.
what you have you taking out.
Correct.
But the credit card is you get to pay it back over time. So the cash flow, you get to save cash flow and invest it elsewhere versus using all the cash flow constantly and then you don't have when you need it.
Correct.
So the credit card, you get to use it. You pay down some, you pay down some, you pay down some. So it's more accessible for a business and it helps with cash flow.
Right.
Right. And then we have the rewards program attached to that.
Which is beautiful.
Correct.
Let's talk about that.
Yes. So on our online the website rather, you can go there and get all the different rewards and so on for the card. So you get the card and you automatically enrolled in the rewards program. And they kind of give you an idea as to how you get to redeem the points and so on for attached to the credit card. So that's a good way. You're spending the money and you're able to make back something. You're getting something in return, right?
Yeah.
So it helps.
So based on where you sit overall in having experiences with dealing with micro, small, medium enterprises, what would you say are definitely some key pointers that you want to leave with existing business owners, regardless of the scale, as well as probably people just thinking of looking to start their own business? What would you say are some of the key considerations that they have to make at that point?
Okay, so I would say one of the things that a lot of businesses, well, self-employed persons would now want to do is register a business. That's critical. You want to be able to be structured. You don't want to just start a business and just doing things all over the place. You want to be structured. Register the business. That's the first step. You register for your taxes, register for your NI certificate one time. Start the structure from the base properly.
And the accountant will help you with the taxes.
Correct. And everything flows from that. So the first thing, register the business, then you open the account. And then the money goes through there. You get to see the records and so on. So it's a whole, once you start properly, you get to build in a better way and faster, rather.
And streamline the process.
Correct.
And businesses that's already existing, what's maybe like a small to medium enterprise, what issue do you see them facing that you think should be addressed?
Sometimes they're not sure if they're ready to go. They think they're ready to expand, but sometimes the basics have not been taken care of yet.
Right.
That's important.
Right.
That's important. You think because you see the money, you're ready to add 2 employees, something like that. That's not how it works.
Correct.
That's not how it works. You have the financials tell you where, if you're making a loss, what you have to address before you would want to expand.
Yeah.
Right. And whatever you're going to expand, into, you want to make sure it's generating sufficient cash. You can't be, expensing the business and then there's nothing coming back.
Right.
So you want to be able to expand in something that's going to drive the revenue into the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, researching the market.
That's very important. And as you were talking, I'm thinking too, because a lot of the times companies would want to, and businesses would want to scale and transition and bring on more. And a lot of the times you would think about it in terms of time of existence. So we've been in operation for 4 years now. We have to scale. We've been upscale. We've been in operations for 5, 6, 7 years. Is it something that's based on existence of the business, or if it's more based on the financial situations and having those fundamentals that you're discussing?
The financials, definitely, and the fundamentals. Even another thing we didn't touch on is the aspect of continuity, especially for the small business posting. It's just me doing everything. But what if tomorrow I can't work? Nothing comes into the business. True. That's a problem. So we need to be able to train up somebody that can, if we go away, if we fall sick or whatever the case is, somebody can continue the business in our absence. Yeah. So a critical part would be, even for an existing business, 3-4 years, to have a second person ready to take over if necessary.
Yeah. In having certain conversations with different business owners, even entrepreneurs, one of the key issues for them is the human resource issue of being able to find people that are competent, able to work, and not just able to fulfill the function, but that would treat the business or think of the business in the way that you would as the owner, or at least you would have more confidence in that person to take on that role. So based on, what you just said, I kind of feel like it has to be a situation where you grow and groom someone to really understanding that. I mean, there's always the risk of them picking up and going to do something else.
That's a big risk as well. Huh?
Correct. But I mean, it's a usual challenge of life that you just have to take. So maybe probably train too. Yeah, when you think about it, because the continuity is important and you can't scale unless you have that sort of business continuity and you look at that. Okay. Beautiful. So thank you so much for your insight today. I just want, before you leave, if there's any additional information that you feel that's really crucial for small business owners, probably again, people just thinking of starting a business, probably people working now in a full-time job and actually thinking of exploring this business idea on the side. I feel like there comes a time where you would have to either say, well, okay, am I going to go completely over to that side, or am I going to stay and be safe with it? What's your advice to people in that sense?
Well, I would say start small.
Yeah.
You could start the business on the side in a small way, right? Investing maybe like $1,000, see where it takes you first before you delve in completely into the business, right? And leaving your full-time work, and then you're left wide open. So I would say start saving. I know it may seem like, I have a business, I want to run with it. Start saving all now.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to have some kind of input when you come for the loan, be able to have to pay like loan fees and things like that. You want to be able to take care of those things, not everything you want to come for. Then you're not having a stake in the business, in the loan, right? So you kind of want to save even now and then start small.
And from a financial institution perspective, that would put that potential business owner in a better position to qualify for whatever business loan that they're actually coming for. So it's always good to keep that in mind and start acting on those ideas. Don't just, keep them. Start acting on them. So before I let you go, we're going to be doing, I'm putting you in the hot seat. We're going to be doing some rapid fire this or that when it comes to small businesses, when it comes to business banking operations and all of that. So for you, transfers or EFTs?
EFTs.
And EFT is an electronic fund transfer.
Correct.
Right.
Online.
100 points for me. For business travel, loan or credit card?
Credit card, definitely.
Credit card, yeah, because, For business transactions, again, personal accounts or business accounts?
Definitely business accounts.
I feel like you lamented on that. If it's one key takeaway we're going to have today, is definitely the separation of accounts from business to personal. Salary or bulk payments? What would you prefer? Mobile banking or in-branch banking?
Mobile banking any day.
Banking. Me too. Avoid the line. And finally, for customer payments, cash or point of sale machine?
Point of sale machines.
Point of sale machines. Thank you very much. I'm sure that a lot of, the different issues that we would have touched on, a lot of the different solutions that we would have discussed in particular, probably, people are hearing about this for the first time, or maybe would have heard about it, but didn't really think about it that much in terms of implementing it. There are so many ways to boost your business efficiency, and we're seeing that just through this conversation that we're having here. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure there's so much more information, a wealth of information that you have to find out to make sure and really ensure that your finances work the way you want it to for your business. Key takeaways that's going to stay in my head: separate your accounts, your business account from your personal account, and ensure that you set aside time for record keeping and doing your accounting, whether it's at the beginning of the day or the end of the day.
Correct.
Anything else?
That's it. I think we got a good nutshell.
Yeah, really and truly.
And stick to online.
Yeah.
Save time.
Yes, for sure. And think of the opportunity cost of standing in that bank line. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us for another conversation with Co-opbank. It was definitely a pleasure speaking here and discussing on ways of boosting business efficiencies, especially for the budding entrepreneurs, especially for small, existing, medium businesses that's already thriving. So again, all of the tips that you need to know, you would have gotten some here, but for more information, feel free to send your questions and your comments to feedback@GrenadaCo-opbank.com, and stay tuned for more conversations with Co-opbank.